Who hosts the emergency management meeting?
I do, but Hurley like talks. Elaine, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll stay on mute and make sure nobody else comes in. And if they do, I'll remove them quick. But only you folks should have this one, so.
Well, which is the one, what are people supposed to be using now?
The one I mean, everybody's logging on. So the one I just sent you, the one that we're in, that's the one.
Okay.
I sent it to everybody in the group, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, no. Okay.
Mike, you were muted, so now you're unmuted.
Okay, thanks.
Oh yeah, that was something.
It's a first.
Yeah.
Yeah, the New York Post had an article 2 days ago saying the FBI is warning people this is happening all over. So it's just something we're going to have to deal with. I'm sending procedures now to anybody who hosts a meeting at all. So hopefully we can have a little bit of quicker action in the future. Sorry about that, guys.
Well, that's okay.
Not your fault.
No, I had been hearing about that, so. So Courtney, you're the host, right?
I am, but you can still, I mean, people can unmute themselves if they need to, and then if you need to share the screen, you should still be able to do that, Elaine.
Okay. Yep. Hi, Katie.
Hi, how are you?
Okay. You said this had happened with a MHP meeting too?
It hasn't. I just reached out to some of my other colleagues to see if it's happened, but not yet with our team. But I've heard it's been happening a lot, unfortunately.
Wow. I know Kathleen said she's not going to come back, so hopefully. I think that the new rules also said you don't necessarily need a quorum. The new open meeting laws that the governor did, is that true? Anybody know?
What was the question about open meeting law?
I thought as part of the allowing the virtual meetings, there was something about quorum too.
No, you don't need to have quorum and you don't need the chair present during the current open meeting law revision from the governor.
Okay, so we get Laura back on, we will proceed, I guess, or just schedule another meeting. But Courtney?
Yep.
Even if I had bought a professional Zoom account, that meeting would still have to be posted though, right?
All the meetings have to be posted, yeah. You just give me the information yourself. But I mean, there's nothing to say these people, I mean, if they're internet hackers, they know how to get to this stuff regardless, so.
Right, yeah, okay. So
but we're hoping it doesn't happen again.
right.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'm back.
Hi, Jay, thank you for hanging in there. That was something. Okay, see if I have any emails from anybody.
Kathleen said she's out.
Right, yep. That was good with someone like Courtney to understand. Hi, Carl. Thank you for hanging in, coming back. Yeah, appreciate Courtney being able to scramble and
Yeah,
do
she's
this.
been working a lot with Zoom, so.
Yeah.
So, Mike, where are you?
Virtually or really?
You couldn't actually put a plain wall behind you or something?
Well, I was, but then I decided, that looks too boring. So I feel better looking at this screen and seeing St. Bart's in the background. Yeah,
Nice.
I missed my opportunity to go there by 3 days this year, so, because they shut everything down 3 days before I was set to travel. So,
Is that a place you've been before?
I'm sorry?
Have you been to St. Bart's before? Is that your place?
Yeah, I go every year to help run an event down there.
Oh, great.
Kind of a working vacation, which is nice. My wife and I,
Uh-huh.
yeah, enjoy it.
Let's see. So Jay, you got back in. You were
Yeah, the way I got unmuted was to click on participants where it shows the whole line of us
uh-huh.
with the mics and everything.
And
So
then could unmute yourself. Okay. Well, let's see, Laura and Gary.
I'm talking to Laura right now. It's asking for her to put a password in, so trying to
Well,
resend it.
Is the password that no ID? Is the password?
I got the same thing, and I just got out of that, went back to Zoom, and to where it says join a meeting and asks for the number, and put in the new number. There was an earlier number that created that request for a password.
Yeah, I think you need to click on the new link as well.
Yeah, I think that for me, I just got out, and so when I got back in, I was in, but
You may have to call this Kaboom instead of Zoom.
oh dear, yeah. So what's it like running the town and stuff these days, Mike?
Well, people are trying to do as much as they can from home.
Right.
There's a few essential personnel, not counting first responders, that are still working in their offices. But the town offices are all closed. So they're not being exposed to the public, which is good. But, they kind of sit in their office and get their work done and then go home. So, but if they can work from home, we prefer that they do that. But
what's it like for Hillary as the health agent? Has she got a lot
she
on
is
her
just
plate?
flat out. Yeah, she's a one-on paper hanger right now, doing so much work. So, she's got a lot on her plate, as does the police and fire. They're the ones that are really, and DPW too. The DPW has to still maintain the buildings and do everything else too. So, unfortunately, it's a time of year where there wasn't a ton going on inside of town hall, especially as it relates to building permits and things like that. So, I think that was very helpful that there weren't a ton of those kind of things going on.
So I don't know where Gary is. Can you give me what the right number for logging in is? Anybody remember?
You mean the meeting ID number?
Yeah, that you got in with?
Yeah, 676-015. I'm sorry, 676-015-8193.
Okay, and that was the one that originally said we needed a password, right? But now it doesn't?
It didn't.
No, it's a different one.
It's not that number?
That number, it doesn't ask for the password. It just asks for that number.
That's the right one?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me send that to Gary again.
Gary's here, but Gary is on here, but he's muted.
There I am.
Hi, Gary. Great. Okay. Okay. So if we get Laura back, we're good to go.
But Laura just needs this link to join the meeting.
Right. That's all you have to do.
Courtney
If you click on that email that Courtney sent.
Yeah.
Oh, she's here.
Andy?
There
Yeah.
she comes.
Can you hear me now? I wasn't sure whether I.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Hey. Hi, Laura.
There she is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So the water situation does seem to be, we've known it was bigger than we realized from the beginning. Laura, do you see anything about, Gary and I had talked with Laura about waiting till after town meeting to issue the RFP because of the warrant article? Because it's pretty difficult to know how to address that in the RFP without going through town meeting, do you think?
Yeah.
No other.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to. And when was town meeting postponed till?
At least June 1st.
Okay,
That's the date we're working with right now.
okay. Yeah. I can't see it happening before then anyway, because nobody's working, so, and they're not working till at least the first week of May.
So Laura, how does that affect the schedule? Remember, we had a window, a period of time that we thought we needed to do, get that RFP out. Do you have any sense as to what that window is now, given the entire situation?
No, because they, they haven't made any decisions, and they're not going to until we know when we're out of this.
Yeah.
I do know that they'll want to get something. They'll want to get things, construction rolling as fast as possible, and that, just to get people working.
Right.
So I think they'll try and keep to a schedule, or maybe they'll, I think with the recession, some of the, the rounds the schedules got moved forward, and because no one was doing anything or could do anything because the credit crunch was so much.
Right.
So I think,
I mean,
the
the whole world is up in the air. Our economy is up in the air.
Right.
Everything's been thrown for, a big whatever. So,
right.
I don't think that should stop us from continuing. Let's have this ready so that whenever the window opens up, and probably it will work well for us my sense is in terms of the water issue. Let's assume we have town meeting sometime in June. There's no question mark. So at least we'll know at that point. So anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you just keep moving forward, and you put it out when you can put it out, and at that time we'll know where the window is going to be.
Okay.
And also we'll have some indication of where investors are, because, these projects only work if people need the tax credits.
Yeah. Wow.
Is there any point in thinking about a plan B at this point? Is there another avenue we could take? Or do we have to wait and see how this plays out and then?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you're not ready to release it yet anyway, so get it ready to be released, and we'll be taking the temperature of developers and investors as we come out of this, and we'll certainly have a better indication with our projects that are in process, what's going to happen with those when we come out. So I think we'll have some better information, towards the end of the summer, hopefully.
Okay. The other quick thing was we do have that small grant for a septic study too, and Laura, you had said you might be able to draft an RFQ for us.
Yeah, I haven't yet. My work situation's changed.
Right.
And so now I'm doing the work of two. So yeah, it's on my list. Let me put it that way. I'll get to it probably next week's a little easier than this week. So.
Okay. And Mike, do you think that's something we could ask Hillary then to kind of look at for us and polish it up? And
yeah, any town assistance you need with that, Laura, obviously reach out. Happy to help with that any way we can.
Okay. And I think that's going to help inform, when you look at the RFP and evaluation criteria, you know, that study will help inform what gets put in those slots, what you're going to be looking for.
Okay.
Or can you update us on Truro and what has happened on the septic system there for the Cloverleaf project?
I don't have firsthand knowledge, but to the best of my knowledge from secondhand, that the zoning board is requiring a nitrogen reducing system. And I believe the town has agreed to pay for it. That's the last that I heard, but I don't.
A dollar amount?
No, because I don't know what kind of system they're requiring. But no, I haven't had any communications. Ted's been in Palm Beach. I'm not sure he even got back before the travel, before he kind of couldn't have, or whatever. So he was there until like 2 weeks ago anyway. So I haven't heard.
Okay, thank you. So our thought is to get through the RFP and hopefully the design guidelines. I can put those up on the screen unless everybody has a copy in front of them, but that was what we thought we would try to do and go through it as you're seeing what's on the screen. Okay, I had it up before. Let's see. This is what we would be looking at. Does that work for people? Everybody?
Yep, I see.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yes.
Is that good?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. So those things in yellow have to wait.
Yeah.
Down at the bottom on the first page there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Is it easier with the clean copy or the redlined?
Oh, I had assumed the red line, but I don't know that for sure.
Well, the thing about the red line version is that, Laura, you had a couple of comments in there, sort of questions.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine.
That's the one I sort of went through.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
For some reason.
No, that's fine. You can see what's changed and you don't have to look at the rest of it.
Right.
For the most part.
Yeah. So did anybody have anything on this first page?
I still have to get clarification on the treasurer's deed.
Okay.
Whether that's going to be sufficient. Okay.
Okay.
Why wouldn't it be sufficient?
Typically, after it's usually switched to a quit claim or another kind of deed.
And this was never done?
It was never done. No.
Mike, I think we should do it.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
We ran into the same problem. Where else? Somewhere else. I can't remember, but recently we ran into the same problem.
Yeah, the Sexton case, Andy.
What was it?
Yeah, the Sexton.
The solar array, right?
Solar array.
Solar
That's
array.
exactly right. It was the solar array and the transfer station. So could you? I don't know what it doesn't. I don't know what it would take, but it doesn't seem like it would be much to have town council.
Yeah, Andy, could you do me a favor on that and just maybe email me some basic language on you want to go from X to Y.
Sure.
I can then forward it to up the chain here.
Okay, great.
For action, okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and you had the title search done, and it could be that attorney that did that could get it done quicker than, I don't know, if you have KMP, I know they're.
Yeah, I'll make that query, but just help if you could, Andy, at a legal beagle here. Give me the language on that.
Well, I know nothing about land use or real estate, but I will email you.
You know more than I do.
Okay.
Okay, so Laura, you'll give the information they need to follow up on that?
I think the the cover that the title searcher did lays it out, you know, basically says what's there, so.
Okay.
um,
So if you need that from me, let me know, Mike or Andy.
Okay.
Okay. Great, thank you. All right. The next page. Okay. Anybody have anything on that page?
I don't think so.
The only thing Gary and I talked about was depending on what the situation, if things move forward, but in different way, we might have to arrange social distancing, site visits and things like that. But that's.
Oh God, let's hope not.
Let's cross that road when we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, next section 4, development objectives.
Go
I
ahead.
had a question about the line that's in red, the town prefers a project to conform to zoning requirements in the residential one district to the extent possible.
Why did you put that in, or who put that in?
That was a something that was said that was put in at a couple of meetings ago. So
Yeah.
when I saw it this time, I highlighted it in red just to say to you, really, I think it was around height more than anything, but then you didn't want to say height because with the topography, the different ways it could be interpreted. You didn't want to say stories.
My question is, why do we have to say anything at all?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
okay,
I would suggest taking it out too.
take it out.
Yes. Also, while we're in that paragraph, I have I don't know what you call it, a grammatical issue.
Oh, there's probably a passive sense somewhere. Go ahead.
The first line, there's a period and then there's a capital along, and neither should be there. It should, period should be deleted and along should be
lowercase.
Lowercase.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we taking out that the last red sentence?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I think we decided. Is that okay with you, Jay?
That's fine. It doesn't mean too much in this context anyway.
Right.
In that same paragraph, where it says the town would like the natural vegetation maintained and possibly enhanced, can we take out possibly?
Sure.
Yeah, might as well. And then under affordability, there was the question about in the red thing, the red, there's the difference between 120% and 90%. And do we really still want to say 120%? Is that at all realistic? Or you might have talked about all that before, but.
Yeah, I think we did. And I think Laura said, I don't remember what she said, but it had something to do with.
Yeah, I put the caveat assuming 120% is below market rate. You don't know where it's going to be. So, you know, we could have a huge drop in median income by the time this comes around.
That's for sure.
Laura, could you explain the distinction between affordability by design and by restriction?
Yeah, that's one that everyone always asks me about, and I don't know why I keep it in there. So affordability by restriction is really income based, you know, is the restriction says it's so much income eligibility. And then by design is basically how much utility costs are and being able to, so utilities and maintenance, so it's affordable because it's sustainable and there's not high utility costs that can fluctuate a lot. But I'm happy to take it out. I usually do take it out, but sometimes it creeps back in.
Well, it is consistent with what we had previously said about trying to minimize those costs.
There's probably a better way to say it.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what I was getting at.
Okay, you can't hurt my feelings.
And the other thought I had about that paragraph is it says at least the minimum, but it doesn't really reflect what we had put in as the desirable on the selection
Evaluation.
criteria. Yeah, and I think it should reflect that. And that too wasn't corrected after the last meeting. So the highly advantageous, we'll wait to get that page, but it should be at least 85% affordable to 60% AMI or below, with the balance of the units ranging from 60 to 120% AMI. So it's the way it's listed now under highly advantageous, it says 50, but we'd agreed on 85.
Oh, okay. Yeah, part of the problem was my files in the office and I was going by memory.
Oh, he's not very reliable.
Not always. Okay, we can get those to be consistent.
Right. So that paragraph would say not just what is minimum, but also what we're looking for.
Yep. Okay.
The other thing I was wondering, I know way back in the beginning we talked about putting more information in about the sizes and the numbers of, and decided not to do that. So under unit type, in terms of numbers, all it says is 10% of the units shall contain 3 bedrooms or more. The fact that we sort of know we need almost as many 1 bedrooms as 2 bedrooms, we don't want to commit to that or say that anywhere.
Maybe we refer them to the needs assessment.
Mm-hmm.
I think I do somewhere. I do at the very top.
I don't know.
But maybe we do it again in the unit types.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So the highlighted yellow out in the margin, that was all deleted, but you highlighted it in yellow for a reason.
I think it was highlighted in yellow when I deleted it, and that's why it's highlighted in yellow.
Okay. All right. Great.
Because I think I had a question about it.
Okay. All righty. Anything else on unit types? Oops. Oh, I have the annotate on them. So I'm going to do that. Okay.
I might, given our site visit to Eastham, I might kind of in the unit types put something about functionality of the units, the interior, traffic flow and sizing, kitchens and to reflect household size of the units, something like that. Because I think that was something, at least I came away from Eastham thinking that it was too bad the kitchens were so small. So
okay,
I'll put it in. You can take it out if you want. If you don't like it. Okay.
But again, is that too restrictive?
No.
I agree with you. It isn't. Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's
Functionality.
funny, Laura, that we have nothing about interior design at all.
I know.
The only thing there is at some point you are indicating that the proposer will submit floor plans.
Yeah.
Right.
And typical unit sizes, typical units, the plans. That's like a standard they have to submit. Okay.
Should we say something in there?
Yeah, I'll draft something.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Building design, I guess we'll go to the designs after we get through this, if we,
Yeah.
it's 11 o'clock, okay.
Yeah. Can we say the town has adopted, or should we just say the task force has suggested design guidelines, or is it okay to say the town has adopted?
I assumed that when you went to the Board of Selectmen, that you'd bring the design guidelines as well.
Okay, all
You
right.
know, I just as a CYA right now, would it make more sense to say does the town has created design guidelines, or just so it's not adopted? Adopted is very legal in terms of, you know, the vote.
That's fine.
We could
Yeah.
just say the town has provided design guidelines as seen in whatever attachment B or
Yeah, because they're guidelines, they're not any legal, you know,
right.
meaning to them. And if the town decides to adopt those, and that's a whole nother thing, but, you know, it's going to be a process at this point, based on where we're at right now and with this crisis, to try to get adopted.
Okay,
That
so
means-
I'm sorry, what are we saying?
Jay, you mentioned.
That the town has provided
Provided.
design guidelines.
Is it possible just to avoid that issue entirely by just including, saying that the guidelines are the attached guidelines are part of this RFP?
Yeah, you can not reference the town, you mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's just as good, Carl. I agree.
Okay.
I don't think the task force is mentioned anywhere in here, and we have no standing in this.
Okay.
We're the agents for the town.
So I have a question down there. See where it says laundry rooms?
Yeah.
I think when we went to Eastham, maybe remind me, did they have washer and dryers in the units?
They did.
And so is that preferable to separate laundry rooms?
Well, sure, it would be.
I mean, that's why I'm wondering whether
No, but you get that and you give up something else. I'm just.
In terms of space, you mean?
There's a
Quality.
Well, I'm concerned about two things. I mean, laundry rooms, you know, they can be fraught with problems, but it also involves, would those be paid machines?
Yes.
Yeah.
So then that enters into another, you know, there'd be cash available. So are we better off with laundry rooms or with individual, and which do we prefer?
You know, I wonder whether this is one of these things where we're kind of micromanaging it. It's a lot of detail.
Should we just eliminate it?
Well, you know, I think, you know, there's a cost trade-off.
Yes.
If you're going to provide hookups in each unit, it takes up space. It involves plumbing. There's a cost, and this is, you know, I think if we want to provide some latitude, it just seems this is more granular than anything else we have in here.
And I mean, I'm sure that the people living there would prefer to have their own. And I was sort of picturing that if we had a bigger building, that would have those, but smaller, the more individual, like duplexes or something, might have their own. So I don't know, this was the whole thing. All of a sudden, wondering.
What's the trade-off?
Lori, is this what you generally would do on an RFP like this?
I don't usually put it in unless, I don't usually say anything about laundry rooms unless or unless the town or housing authority, whatever, is insisting on having them in the units, I don't say anything.
I guess that
I usually say, or we say laundry facilities must be provided or something. And then,
why don't
and
we,
usually at the land disposition agreement, when you're going through that, that's when these kind of things get negotiated. If, you know, to require them in the units, it's a cost, because it's not only the cost for the plumbing and, you know, takes up room in the unit, but also you have to, you know, put pans underneath because they're not usually, you know, you can't, it's not like putting them in your home. So there's construction costs, there's plumbing costs, and they're definitely preferable on tenant side, absolutely. But from a management side, they also have to be maintained. So,
right.
Could we cover this by just saying on-site laundry facilities will be provided and just leave it generic like that?
yeah, that's.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm for that.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And I just, you may have discussed this, but I just keep thinking where it says one larger structure. I mean, it says the town encourages, which doesn't say this is what has to happen. But I don't know if we're tying ourselves to design issues if we say one larger structure, as opposed to a mix of larger and smaller multi-unit structures.
Yeah, I could do that.
I don't know how anybody else feels about that.
I think that's reasonable. I think the, you know, our issue is more that where the units, where the buildings are most visible to the community, that it needs to fit into Wellfleet more. So we thought that, you know, in that very interior area of the site, it's possible to have somewhat taller building or larger building. But you wouldn't, so it may be something that just refers to, you know, a range of sizes consistent with the idea of the development fitting in with the Wellfleet vernacular or something like that.
Why do we have to even say one larger structure? I mean, we all seem to think, and it may well be true, that that's the only way we're going to get the 46 units in. And I also agree with Carl that the best place to put it is somewhere behind center field there, up the ball field. But why not just leave it up to the developer? See what the developer comes up with. I mean, the only thing that I think is
that's what we're saying. I think
is we don't want a large structure along Long Pond Road. Correct?
But I think what we're saying, if we just leave out the one larger structure, which I think we were saying, which is we wanted a mix of structures.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
And I'm all for leaving the one larger structure out of it.
Me too.
And you know, they know what we want, see what we get.
Right. I agree.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, it could, I agree with that too, because, you know, I think saying that one larger structure just pins us to multiple of the same designs in a way, maybe. Okay, great. Laura, Gary and I were talking and we haven't seen this anywhere in the RFP, and maybe that's not where it belongs. Anything about local preference? I know the lottery is mentioned somewhere, but is this not a place? Is this not a place?
It's not a developer's choice. It's a town's obligation to request it and document the need. So you don't put it in the RFP.
Okay.
It's not up to the developer.
Great, thank you. All right, next page.
Two things. One is of substance, and that has to do with the septic proposed reduction of nitrogen to a level of 10.
Mhm.
Who's that?
We thought we were saying it had to go below that.
Yeah, Andy, I think we picked up on that as well.
Okay.
So can we just change that to at 10 or below?
We're skipping over a section here.
Yeah, I don't know where you are.
We're on,
Sorry.
Well, I was
on
on
site.
page-
Under site,
Yeah.
Page.
Oh,
right in front of us, it says
I see it.
reduce nitrogen to a level of 10, and it should be below 10. Or 10 and below.
My notes said, who had the conversation with George? Gary?
Yes, I did.
Didn't he say that you should put in 10?
I think he said, we can go back and check,
Okay,
Laura, but I think it might be at or below.
okay.
But
Mhm.
Andy is correct. I mean, our desire is for it to be below 10.
Right.
Right.
So maybe
just
when we
wanted-
go to criteria, we can say that.
Yeah. All right. I'll fix that or clarify it anyway.
Thank you.
Neil, I have another sort of grammatical spelling.
Yeah,
Wallfield is 2 words.
2 words.
So,
It doesn't come up as a spelling error.
Right.
I know, I looked it up on Google because I wasn't sure. I don't care.
No, I thought it was 2 also, but I put it as 1 just to see what came up and it didn't tell me,
Actually,
so I said, all right.
You did it both ways.
Okay, well, whatever we do, I don't care what we do. Let's
Okay.
just be consistent. There's
Right.
and that's in that paragraph we have it spelled 2 different ways. Mostly it's
Okay.
spelled as 1 word, so that's fine with me.
All right.
Maybe we should just call it baseball field. Then you'd have one word for, you'd have another partner for ball.
Okay, let's go with J's.
All right.
That's a great solution.
We
But
may
they
be
also-
getting into a level of granularity.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what that means, Carl.
Okay.
Under rental management,
Yep.
it is expected that there will be on-site management. Do we want to say, we're expecting some kind of part-time management? Do we want to give any kind of parameters, or it's better just to keep it this way?
Yeah, it's better to keep it that way.
Read it again.
On-site management, assumes that there's going to be somebody there. 46 units, it's probably, somewhere around 30 hours a week. Maybe.
That's kind of a rule of thumb for management.
Yeah, 46 is, one manager can usually do like 70, so,
Mhm.
could be, but you can't get anyone, to do that too much part-time. 24 is probably too little, so,
Okay.
okay.
And in the past, I had talked about the concept of a tenant association, even a tenant kind of cooperative. And I don't know if anything like that can go in, or how you help something like that happen. And just, the concept of a neighborhood and trying to have ways for people to, be connected. I don't know. if
Yeah,
that's-
it's typically not the developer. They'll have to have a service coordinator. And I would say that it would be under the scope of the service coordinator.
Okay.
I think that's more of a negotiation after the fact.
Okay.
Laura,
Yeah,
the way this section is written, rental management, it talks about an outside firm as opposed to doing it in-house. Is that the way it should be?
well, even if it's in-house, it's a separate entity usually.
Or is that right?
So it's they have like a construction developing entity and then a rental management entity, so.
Got it.
And actually, where it does say, or a description of the process for procuring such a firm.
Yeah.
How do you?
A lot of times they don't know if they don't have their own rental management company.
Yeah.
It's a negotiation that can't happen till they're way farther down the road.
Okay.
They don't bring someone on at this point. It just, unless there's someone that they work with all the time.
Okay. So there's a potential for not really being able to vet the company.
Right. I mean, the rental management company has to be vetted by the lenders.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't just have X, Y, and Z, realtor with a guy in a pickup. They have to have someone who's experienced in fair housing and lotteries and income termination. If it's tax credits, they have to be tax credit certified. So there's a whole level of approvals that have to happen.
Would it be the management company that does the lottery?
Yes.
Yes.
Unless, I mean, sometimes they hire an outside people to do the lottery, but, not usually.
Okay. Next page.
Yeah, we just under deed, we've got to if we're going to go to the quitclaim deed, we should switch it over.
Right.
I mean, I think, Mike, what I'm going to say to you in my email to you is check with KP Law to determine whether or not a treasurer's deed is sufficient.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a treasurer's deed. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
But at any rate.
That's great.
It's the first step after a tax title taking.
No, then I think we should go further.
Yeah, that would be my opinion too.
Thank you. The town has had a lot of issues with this.
Right. That's why I don't want to run into the problem after the fact like they did with the solar array.
Yeah, every Cape town's had problems with it.
Sure.
It's universal.
A lot of treasurer's deeds, I'm sure. And they forget
Yeah, and not a lot of research.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Laura, under
Yep.
zoning,
Yeah,
it says the property is currently zoned residential 1. Do we want to add there?
Yeah.
Although we expect it will be a 40B.
yeah,
We say it further on as well.
Yeah.
I know we said, but I thought here, as long as we're narrowing it to residential 1, we ought to make it clear that that's not.
yeah. That's
the
not what we're.
expectation.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Underwater public, hold for explanation of water service and status.
Yeah.
If
There's nothing.
this is maybe where the Plan B comes in if we don't get the vote at town meeting. What would one say here if we don't get that vote? Where does that put us back to?
We're going to get the vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just,
Well,
the economic times are going to be.
that's why I said, well, then I started thinking, uh-oh.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's nothing we can do about that right now, but just
Absolutely not.
hope and have the best explanation possible.
I mean, how much did somebody calculate, Jim, how much our property taxes would go up for this?
You mean if we don't get a grant?
Yes.
No, we haven't done that, but I think we probably, that's something we probably should do.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, I would normally be confident that the town would vote in favor of this, but again, given the economic situation, people may not want their property taxes to go up a penny.
Right.
So.
But the economic situation may also include some sort of stimulus where public works projects would be a good use of funds.
As long as it's funded by somebody other than us.
Well, I'm assuming federal. I mean, this is going to be a hole that's going to be incredible to dig out of.
Carl, if you're assuming federal, I don't know what you've been eating.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay. I don't think we have anything on that page. Nothing on that page that I had. Anybody have anything on that page?
No.
I agree with Laura's comment that we should at least say affordable projects.
Yeah, I agree too.
Okay.
Gary said you didn't think it needed to include municipal, right?
Correct, because there are some projects which are done by third parties, you know, charities and the such, which are quote unquote non-municipal.
Okay.
Do we want to say of similar scale, similar size, or just affordable projects?
I think we say something somewhere about them being, some things being in comparable size. But I'll look.
Okay.
Yeah, could you just clarify what you're trying to do there? You're asking for all the references to be from affordable projects, or you're looking for at least one from an affordable project?
I think you're looking for 3 references for affordable projects.
Are we really narrowing that though? I mean, as far as the, you know, our potential pool?
I think we should narrow it.
I think in order to get
Well, in
the
this,
funding.
this economy, you may find
Well,
some of those usual characters may be out of play.
The fact is that it's only the usual characters or whatever that are going to be able to get the funding.
Absolutely.
So, it won't be just, if it was home ownership, it could be anybody, but for rental, they're going to need substantial subsidies. So you need a level of sophistication that you have to have done it before, basically.
Yeah. And I'm just playing devil's advocate here, and you know better, Laura. But if I've got someone that's qualified and has done 2, you know, great projects and is on the rise here, are we narrowing that person out of the room?
Well, we can always say references for 3 completed projects, including
2 affordable.
1 or 2 affordable, whatever.
Say including.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I just didn't want to totally rule out, you know, that prospect, that's all.
I think it says including.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Anything else on that page, anybody?
Yes, I have a question under development concept.
Yeah.
Laura, the bullet says project financing. Provide a sources and uses pro forma. I don't know what that means.
It means you have a pro forma that lists all your sources of revenue and then all your uses. So they have to balance.
For the development, not
for the development.
I understand that. So just explain the words pro forma to me. What do those 2 words refer to?
Basically, projected budget.
Okay, well, as long as anybody
You'll know what it is.
No, if they know what it is, that's good for me. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, standard.
So going back to that last, the 3 references. So the
Hello, Gary, you still with us?
Too late, Gary. Oh, too late, Carl. No, kidding.
We say that they need to have done projects of similar scale and complexity on the previous page. And here it's really what we're referring to as the references we want. But we've added here 3. I mean, it seems like the 3 ought to be going with a description of the development team's experience. And then the references, it's a little ambiguous to me who would provide those references.
Well, right.
typically it's the municipality, whoever they've done the job for. Or the housing authority, or we get bankers, we get, you know, usually it's municipal. Even if they haven't done it for the town, they'll get the planner, they'll put the planner in, and we'll call the planners.
Okay.
And just by the way, I know I had somewhere in here about the references. Are they written references?
No. Usually they're called.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably better.
Yeah.
You could call after getting a written reference, I suppose.
You want to speak to these people.
Yeah.
No, I understand that.
Most people don't want to have to write a reference.
They may,
Yeah.
Laura,
Okay.
don't they sometimes provide letters with their RFP response?
They do letters of support, but for references, they just list contact information.
Oh, okay.
Laura,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
under management plan where it says lottery, we wouldn't put local preference there.
Nope.
Okay.
Just
Not
above,
up to the developer.
I'm sorry. Just above that under conceptual design sheet drawings. Stop. I'm
Yeah.
getting
Thank you.
floor plans.
Yeah.
Are we I'm sorry. Typical unit plans. So we have floor plans and then we have typical unit plans.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that would be, or sometimes with one way of doing a presentation like this is to do at a smaller scale, first you have a site plan that shows everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have building plans, which might have several units in them.
Mm-hmm.
And then a unit plan would be at a larger scale showing a unit layout.
An individual layout.
Yeah.
So
You
what's the
just go
difference? What's the difference between that and floor plans?
Floor plans is the whole.
Would be the whole.
Multiple units per
building?
plan.
Okay, thank you.
Per floor.
They'll know what we're talking about.
Good. I don't, but thank you. As long as they know.
Okay. Anything else on this page?
Oh, I see.
The question of 3 years, Laura saying that might be a tight schedule. Do we want to stick under implementation plan and timeline? The proposed development should be completed within 3 years of the execution of the land development agreement.
What are you thinking, Laura?
Go ahead, whoever.
I mean, I think it's going to be tight, you know.
Well, we're saying it should be completed. We're not
Right.
saying it's mandatory.
There'll be a timeline in the development agreement. I don't worry about it too much in the RFP. Because when you get to the land development agreement, you'll have a better idea of how long it's going to take. So, and we did say should and not shall. So.
Right. Could we just go back up a little bit on this page, please? I don't know who's controlling the page. Thank you. Stop. So under the paragraph, mine has a big black line between it. It says the proposer and/or property manager must demonstrate. The first bullet, just understand, should have the ing, a clear understanding of.
Oh yeah, I see it. Thank you. Okay.
So Laura, you say it's okay to leave the 3 years in?
Yeah.
Because it'll get discussed more.
It'll get discussed more. It'll get put in the development agreement.
Okay. Anything else here? Okay, I'm going to go to the next page. Laura, I think I asked you this once before, but I can't remember the answer. Who is the evaluation committee under selection process number 8?
2.
I don't know. That's up to you guys or up to the Board of Selectmen.
What's the,
Mike, didn't you say something about that?
Well, I don't know what your original charge was. It must be spelled out somewhere. And if the evaluation is written in there as part of your charge, and obviously it's you. Otherwise, it's probably up to the select board to go back and make that decision. But I never saw the original charge for this task force.
I'll send it to you and look at
Okay.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'll
hey,
take a look.
Mike. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead.
This is Gary. Have you any sense that the select board has the appetite to go forward with this project now, given the economic situation and the town manager?
I don't think this has even been on their radar right now in the last few weeks. There's not in my company has there been any discussion about this. So I just think they've had other priorities. So I don't want to speak for them.
Maybe we should ask them.
Yeah, certainly, certainly can do that. Yeah, we need to obviously get a temperature there on that. I just, they have not been meeting, as you know, other than virtually. So it's, you don't even see them in town hall to even talk to them in the hallway. But I think it's, I'm not going to want to try to second guess where their thought process is, but I wouldn't be surprised they're thinking along the lines we are, which is just keep moving forward with this and, sort of let the chips fall as they come out here. The bigger question might be that warrant, and whether they want to keep that on there, but I haven't heard any talk about taking it off.
Mike, as a practical matter, do they have to have the town meeting prior to the end of the fiscal year?
As a practical matter, yes, but there's now provisions either pending or passed as far as new legislation that's given us all sorts of latitude on that right now. So, all those contingencies are being covered at the State House level.
Okay.
Well, we certainly have to hope and maybe advocate that they don't take that off the warrant.
Yeah, again, I've not heard a single word regarding that, so don't misunderstand that. I just pose that as the bigger issue in their front view mirror right now.
Okay. Anything else on this page? I guess just back to the evaluation committee, if it's not the 95 task force, could the select board appoint the task force, or is it better to have a different composition? I mean, it seems kind of
It's going to be a decision of the select board. I can't imagine, well, again, I don't want to speculate on that. So certainly if the task force, assuming it's not spelled out yet, if the task force wants to be that evaluation committee, then I would just recommend that you ask to be it.
So Laura, typically, is that the case? Laura?
It's typically the case that whoever's does the RFP, does the review.
Exactly. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be moved based on, again, what the charge was. So Elaine, if you want to send that to me, I'll read it over and get a clarification for you.
through this part.
Do you want to do the design guidelines? I'm running out of time, so.
I would like to have a chance. I think we just need sort of a general discussion. Let me.
Sorry, I know that other part's the important part, but Katie's on, and
right.
if we can get that finalized would be good. Whoops, it's kind of wonky.
Whoa, look at that. What happened?
I thought that might have been me.
I feel like I'm in a Picasso painting right now.
Yeah.
Cool, actually.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know what you're seeing, but I kind of lost. I wanted to go share the other document, and
Oh.
I'm going to stop the share and try to find it again. Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay.
Look, no, shoot. Ah. I think I did something weird here. I'm sorry. My
I mean, I just think before we go to design guidelines, at least one thing we ought to hit is what Carl referenced before under affordability and our evaluation criteria, that we do say what we said we would say last time. I don't know if you guys have paper versions of this thing, but I'm looking at the one that, the more recent one that we just got emailed by somebody, I guess Elaine, and then the one we worked on February 28th. I think it was February 28th. Yep.
And that's the one that's sitting in my office.
Yeah. Where, so just if we could change, I don't know who's making these changes.
I am.
Okay. So if you go to affordability on attachment A,
Yeah.
are you with me?
Yeah.
All right. Highly advantageous needs to be changed to 85% from 50.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's it. Is that what we changed from?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yep. That's what I had notes on.
Okay. Other than that, I'm glad to go on to the design criteria.
Okay.
You can always go back to this.
Just while Elaine is looking for that document, it says in the an area for snow, and I think it's an area for snow removal.
Yeah. No, that's the only area in the place where the snow is going to be allowed to fall.
Right.
Yep. That's it.
And then
Okay.
there's the phrase respects
There's
adjacent
no
properties.
good way to write that. It's ambiguous any way you write it. If it's a place for snow removal, it suggests that that's
the only place where
That's the only place to remove it.
It's nothing. It's unimportant. What did you say, Gary? You were talking about something else?
Yeah, just that in the criteria, there's a phrase that says respects adjacent properties. And I would assume that that would be something we want, not just in the highly advantageous, but in all of them.
Where is that?
Under criteria.
Yeah, I'm looking. But what? Under
What
what?
category?
What category?
I don't have it in front of me now, but I just wrote down that. I think it's in
The site design, top of the second page of it.
Okay, yeah.
Wow. Back to the first thing under site design.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. How you doing, Elaine?
I got lost for a while, but I think I'm back, but I think you're not seeing the design guidelines right now, are you?
No.
No.
Is it because Courtney is the?
No, I don't know what I did, but I don't have the, oh, here we go. Share screen.
I think with Laura's time being tight, we may want to move on to the design. guidelines.
That's what we're trying to do.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay. I mean, I thank you so much, Katie. I got a little feedback from Jan Plowey, and I tend to agree with her that this concept of the modernist houses doesn't quite really fit in. With this. I don't know what other people think. Definitely, I think the photos don't help. And I want to see what other people think.
You know, I agree. It's a great idea, but it just seems to be somewhat, I think it would confuse a developer.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think the photographs, the first two, are confusing. I think the one that
one on the bottom
that Elaine provided, which shows something that sort of is not as classically colonial.
Yeah.
But does
there it is.
sort of say you have a little latitude to think creatively, which I think is we do want to say.
I mean, I asked a couple, and Jay, I asked a couple of other architects too about other buildings in town that aren't our traditional shapes but are modern, and nobody could point me to too many. People pointed to the Audubon Sanctuary.
Well, I'm looking at Serge Chermayev's cottages here.
On the right, isn't it?
Yeah, on the right at the top.
I've been there.
And you know, I don't think we want to think. I don't think that that's very typical, even of the modernist houses that you'd see around.
Right.
And the one to the left
It's just
is not really what we're asking for either.
I mean, I got a bunch after I sent these to Katie. The next day, I think I got a bunch from Peter McMahon. And they're beautiful photographs. They're just like way beyond anything that could be incorporated.
Yeah, I kind of punted on this one. I got photographs from several different people. Sharon sent me some, and Olga Khan sent me a couple.
Oh.
And what I decided to do was I wasn't going to just decide unilaterally on what pictures were going to go in here, what weren't, that we'd have to decide as a group.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at the screen right now, I would leave out the two smaller photos at the top.
Yep.
There's a condo development on Route 6. Name escapes me. Rather modern looking, very slopey roof lines to it, on the east side of Route 6 towards South Wellfleet.
Deck 2.
What is it?
Deck 2.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Deck 2, actually the ranch thing.
What about that? I mean, again, I'm new to the area, so it was pointed out to me by one of the select board persons actually as something that is a design that if you go a little more modern might fit in.
Yeah, that would be, at least it has a pit. They have pitched roofs.
Right.
In fact, the whole pitched roof thing there in the copy.
Yeah.
I was really tempted to, instead of allowing them to go as low as a 6 pitch, I was going to raise it to a 7 pitch, but I decided to just leave it that way and see what we got. But
The advantage of adding the deck to property is, I think that's shed roof, and that would be the only shed roof example we would have in this.
yeah, I would include it. We don't have a photograph of it now, I don't think, in here.
What was the
No.
name of it? I'm sorry. Deck 2?
Yes.
Yeah, it's this development of several. It's a kind of a cottage colony development that's a more modern design than the usual 50s type of cottages you see in them. And it's in the hole. You got to look down for it.
Here is the hole.
I mean, there's no pictures of the colony either. I mean, that's modernist, but maybe closer to a little.
Yeah, the colony
Yeah.
is.
Why don't we? I
Of
don't
course,
know.
those cottages there are horrible.
I agree.
Okay.
Eleanor Stefani has the only good one.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I think we could. I think keeping this. I think we still want to say something like this because all the other pictures are so traditional, but we could certainly use a couple of photos if anybody. I mean, I'll go take a picture of Deck 2. There's, you know, maybe the Audubon Sanctuary is reasonable. It's a large structure. Just to have a couple to keep
Yeah, I'm all for it.
I agree.
this in, but not. Katie, I thought what the on page 8. This looks like. I mean, I think I saw the whole structure on your website. This looks like a nice. Where's this?
Laura, do you know? Is that in somewhere on the Cape? Maybe Sandwich?
You know what the name of it is?
No, I can go back and find it though.
Yeah, I mean,
That doesn't matter unless we don't have to put names to any of these.
right. No, I was just curious because we may want to visit some of these places. And I don't know, the picture on your website of this whole one is excellent. I don't know if maybe we could include the whole picture.
It kind of looks like Melpat.
Oh, really? It does.
Although I don't know if they have balconies.
Yeah, I don't know either. Because I know they have that entrance on the side too.
Yeah.
I thought it might be Melpat, but I wasn't that fond of Melpat. But this is a nice photo.
Yeah, it's a very good photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the whole photo on your website is good too, and you know,
Okay.
you can see there. It might not be Melpat because you can see there's some porches and there's balconies, so those have a lot of the elements we talk about in the design guidelines.
It might be the Woods Hole one.
Yeah, you like that one? No?
Not, what's it called? Nope, not something.
No.
Nomachuck or something like that.
Elaine, could you scroll up to page 5?
Oh, I think you're right, Laura.
The Woods Hole one?
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
Yeah.
So I thought that it's under Windows, and that's probably why it's placed there, but the picture in the upper right-hand corner, it's a building that doesn't have the kind of, it projects a large volume, doesn't have the kind of segmentation, I don't know what the right architectural word is for it, that you describe in terms of breaking up the volume of some of the buildings. So
Yeah,
I think
there's no
be a little
attempt
misleading.
to mitigate the massing of the building. And
Right.
what we're hoping for is buildings, if we get a large building, that it is, we do have a little bit of a solid and void place, so to speak.
Articulation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could use this photo, Katie, if you cropped it, if you're talking about windows.
Yep.
If you cropped it even like in the middle so you can see the two dormers, but you still have, anyway, we can work on it.
Yeah, we can find a better photo.
Can I just say, as a practical matter, that's the Bradford, and it has a lot of structural issues right now. So I'm not sure using it as a model.
It's just that everybody of my generation I know here lived there at one point.
Yes, I appreciate that.
It did provide housing. But yes, it's sort of, as you walk around Main Street, we have so many large buildings, and a lot of them are actually rather plain, not like what we're talking about. So, we can give Katie free range to look for some other.
Yeah, we can look for some more.
Either take that picture out, or I don't like it. I don't want anybody to think that's what we want.
Okay, we're gonna get.
Yeah, we can take that one out.
Okay, so we kind of jumped ahead, but just real quick.
I don't know. I printed this, and my page, what's on my pages are different than yours, so I'm just a little confused.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Just as a practical matter, at the top of that page, wait, look, just go a little bit. I don't know is it supposed to be pattern and not patter?
Yeah, I mean,
there's a number of misspellings.
Yeah, there really is. And so rather than go through it, I don't know who wrote this, but I was just.
Katie.
I wrote it, but I can go through. I'm working on a much smaller screen now, so, but I will go through and read.
Yeah, so if you want to do that, that's fine. If you want, I can scan my copy where I put my edits in and just email it to you.
Sure. You want to do that?
Just give me your email address.
Katie, it's a great first run at this.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Katie, I think you did a fabulous job with this.
Yeah,
okay, great.
I do too.
Yeah, I thought it came out really, really good.
Yeah, agreed.
It definitely brought to life what those guidelines said that were in a PDF with kind of stick drawings. So,
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful. Really. Yeah. So, Andy, you're going to make all those.
I just need to email them to Katie, but I don't have her email address, so.
I'll send it to you.
Okay. Thank you, Elaine.
Yeah. Okay. This was we ran out of computer ink because I did print this out. Now we can't print anything at home until we. We're taking out the Bradford.
Elaine, I can run the Staples if you need ink.
We can order it online. Okay, so we're okay with that photo.
I don't like. Back up, yeah. Is that in Wellfleet? No, could you? Yeah, is that in Wellfleet?
Isn't that Drucker's house?
Yes.
This is right on Main Street where Merritt Fraser used to live. When I walk up, not Witts Lane, I walk up the little back road to Main Street. This is the house. It's just right at it's right on Main Street. It's right next to the Historical Society.
All right.
Jay, the roof on that looks like it's a much shallower pitch than what you described, that range you described.
Is that
this is a very low pitch, yeah. Then what I described in the guidelines, you mean?
Yeah.
And the purpose of this is to illustrate the door, right?
If you do a building like this, exactly like this, with everything symmetrical and the chimney in the middle, you can get away with it as a house. But it would be pretty difficult to use this approach for the kind of project that we have. Although I won't say it's impossible. I mean, somebody who's clever enough can make something like this work.
It seems to me if the purpose of this illustration was to illustrate the door, then we could just crop it, so it's not as misleading.
Yeah, there's no guesswork as to where you enter. That's for sure.
Right, but I think part of the point was to show the door, and the door has all these lights, as they call them, all around it. And I mean, I just can't imagine that this is something that would be affordable, if you will, to build for a project such as the one we're talking about. Every door has all these lights around it.
Well,
you know, none of this is supposed to be prescriptive. You know.
Okay.
It's kind of, you know, some of them are just pretty too. I mean, I was walking around town. I was surprised at how many big buildings we have that are very plain. And I know that's not what we want to build, but if, you know, you walk around town and you start looking, and it's really interesting.
That's our Puritan history.
Right.
Yeah, but remember, it's not just in town that we're talking about.
You know.
But I know.
I just was kind of trying to do big buildings. You know, we have a lot of big buildings in town. People are going to complain that it's a big building. We have a lot of big buildings in town.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought you did a beautiful job, Katie, especially since we sent photos that didn't necessarily fit a lot of the descriptions, but I still think it's beautiful to have Wellfleet.
I thought Jay put this together.
Well,
no, I just worked from this original stuff that we had, and I edited that.
Okay.
Got it all to Laura, and then Laura got Katie on putting it all together.
That's great. It's really
cool. Beautiful.
So I would, if possible, if this could be that whole photograph on your the one you have on your website, it's really
I'll take a look at that.
Nice looking building. I mean, those were my only issues where I didn't think the modern stuff was working and didn't really fit anything we were saying there.
For the modern photos, though, if you go up back to page 7, I think it is, do we want to keep that lower photo that Elaine you found
on Zillow?
Yeah, on Zillow. That, I mean, it does have the pitched roof and the materials kind of match in the columns. So it could be a mix of modern and kind of the New England architecture you were talking.
I have no problem with this.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, no, I've spent a lot of time on Zillow looking in the greater Boston area, and I never see anything I like. And then this one like sort of popped out as, you know, I guess it's a duplex. It was quite expensive. Just thought it was more interesting than a lot of things I'd seen.
Yeah.
But I'll take a photo of deck 2 and just maybe send a couple of others. And you can, I think, you've made good decisions, so.
I've just Googled deck 2, Elaine, and there's a ton of photos also online. If you might find something there you could download, but just a thought.
Katie, do you want to look at that online, or do you want us to pick them?
I can take a look and look at that, no problem.
Okay, so let me know if you need
Yeah.
different.
Well, it's getting to be close to 12, Elaine.
Well,
Let's talk about next steps or set up a next meeting.
Yep, I think, the rest of it, it's just great. Excellent.
Great.
Okay. Considering, I just had this thought, I don't know how you would feel about it, considering the constraints and the things that are going on. How would people feel about a smaller subcommittee just to polish up and finish the RFP? Or do we want to just, come back with these edits, look at it one more time as a group and say, this is it. We're giving it to Mike, our procurement officer.
I think we're ready.
I think one more group meeting with the changes we've discussed, and we'll be ready to pass it along to Mike. What do others think?
Yeah, I think we're pretty damn close.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. I mean, this has been a big group and it's been incredible. So if you're comfortable to do that, I think we are so close. That would be great. One more time.
So just to talk next steps relative to once it gets in my hands, I'll pass it on to Dan as the Chief Procurement Officer. We'll probably send it to legal. I think we probably would want to make sure they have a look at this, just to be certain before we put it out on the street. Select Board, I would assume, would want to see this as well. And we're a ways away from on the street anyway, as you know. But I'm just trying to talk process right now relative to this. So those are the steps that we would do before we, publish this. So, we got a ways to go on that side of it, but we have time as well. So,
Laura, I think you're the gatekeeper on the time. When could we have another version, do you think?
Probably 2 weeks.
Do you want to shoot for the 16th?
Yeah.
How does that work for other folks?
What was that date again?
Your dance card is fairly open?
Yep.
you've got a captive audience.
Yeah.
So I'm suggesting the 16th at 10 o'clock.
Gary, is that a
Sounds
Thursday?
good.
I have,
Laura, what's good for
actually,
you?
I now have a weekly 10 o'clock Thursday meeting that I didn't go to today. So
Do you want to do it either the Wednesday or the Friday?
yeah, let's see what's better. I have a weekly 10 o'clock on Wednesday, and I have a weekly at 10 o'clock on Friday too. 10
There's
o'clock's
nothing
a
sacred
popular
about
time.
10 o'clock.
Yeah, 10 o'clock's popular.
Why don't you suggest a time and a date?
All right, let's see. How about 1 o'clock on Thursday? My mornings are kind of full.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Okay,
So we
1
need to
o'clock on the
get
16th.
we need to get a revised version of the RFP. If we can, the septic
Yep,
scope of work. Is there any other a revised architectural standards?
Yeah. Katie, would you be able to join that meeting? Or make it?
The 16th, was it?
yeah, at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
That's no problem.
All right. Is there anything else we need to have for that meeting?
No, I'll clean everything up. If anyone has anything else on the evaluation criteria, just send it either to Elaine or to me directly, and I'll clean those up.
Okay.
Okay?
And we'll have to
Thank
set it
you.
up with Courtney as a post a meeting, et cetera.
Yeah, or we can do it through our account if you want. Katie can set it up.
Yeah, we would have to send the town a recording then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I guess
All right.
we should do it. But thank you, everyone who was
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Stay-
Good to see
Stay
you all.
healthy.
Stay
Yeah.
safe.
Bye.
Healthy.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.